welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. You guys are amazing. If you're new here, my name is Dr.A and welcome to Dr. A's Lounge. We're going to be diving into the wild and wonderful world of pharmacy residency. Now, if you're watching this, you're probably a pharmacy student wondering if you should go down the residency path, and that's okay because I'm gonna be busting some myths about pharmacy residency and talking about why going down the path of pharmacy residency would be a good career option. Well, let's start by busting a few myths about pharmacy residency. If you think that pharmacy residency is just an extra year to delay your real life experience as a pharmacist, then you are definitely thinking wrong. Number one myth, I've heard a lot of people say, pharmacy residency is just an extra schooling. It's really not an extra schooling. You are learning in your capacity as a pharmacist. You are learning the gray areas that wasn't taught in pharmacy school about being a clinical pharmacist, because there's a lot that goes into this clinical decision makings that weren't necessarily taught in pharmacy school, and this is what the entire residency year teaches you. The second myth that I have people talk about a lot is about the money, and people say that residency doesn't pay enough. Yes, it really doesn't pay enough, and this is totally my opinion. If I have to give a few extra months to invest in my career, my long-term career goals, then I will definitely do that because I know that that is definitely going to propel me into being the clinical pharmacist that I want to be, right? Also, I've also people also talk about you have to be a nerd for clinical pharmacy to enjoy pharmacy residency. It's really not that way in the real sense, because pharmacy residency gives you a whole lot of experience in different areas. We have outpatient, inpatient experiences based off of the rotations that you take, and it just makes you a very well-rounded pharmacist, right? So now that we've busted a few myths, let's get into the fun part about why you should consider being a pharmacy resident. So diving into why pharmacy residency is totally worth it, right? I Pharmacy residency gives you better career opportunities, um, especially if you're trying to be a clinical pharmacist. You need that specialized training because it opens a lot of career doors. There are a lot of specialized areas like hematology, oncology, ambulatory care that requires a lot more than just your training from school. And these are roles that you need specialized training to get into. And getting into a pharmacy residency will open those doors. Also, hospitals love hiring residents that are highly trained, especially in those specialized roles, like a critical care pharmacist. Of an hospital is not just gonna hire like a fresh graduate that has zero experience in critical care, or maybe just the experience in critical care is from their rotation as a student. An hospital is not gonna. They would rather hire a resident that has been trained, of even a PGY1 resident or a PGY2 resident that is critically care trained, than someone that just straight right out of pharmacy school, right? So it definitely opens that career opportunity for you, especially when you know that you're going that career path of being a clinical pharmacist. And also, I also want to point out the fact that a lot of people feel like being a pharmacy resident just leads you straight down the clinical pharmacy path. And that is not true, because if you decide to branch off from being a clinical pharmacist or go into the industrial sector or even retail, you have that skill and you have been highly trained, because pharmacy isn't just about making clinical decisions. You have networking opportunities that we will talk about pretty soon. And you also have like a lot of other administrative areas that you're being trained to perform. So being a pharmacy resident isn't just straight down the clinical sector, and I feel like a lot of people miss that part earlier, talking about the teamwork and the networking opportunities that residency provide. You're working alongside doctors, consultants, nurses, like a lot of other healthcare providers, and this network are like very valuable to your long-term career goals. And that's not to say that you cannot achieve like networking opportunities outside of pharmacy residency. You definitely can, but this gives you a wide range of opportunities to do that. and you are also doing that in your capacity as a pharmacist, right? You also have this other um, networking programs like the ASHP media that a lot of pharmacists present their poster and their research work at. A lot of students and pharmacists all over the United States attend this event. We also have like the different conferences for residency in different states, which if you're really not a resident, it's more of a resident conference, you wouldn't be able to attend those events, right? So this definitely opened those networking career opportunities that you take along with you even after residency throughout your career. As a resident right now, I've built a lot of connections with like different consultants and doctors that I work with, and also nurses and your fellow pharmacists as well. And this definitely, I tell you for free, it's going to definitely open doors for you as you move on in your career. Moving on into why you should do a residency. Residency, I would say, is very challenging. That's something a lot of people say residency is difficult, it's hard, but you don't really conceptualize how challenging it is until you get into it and you start doing it. I promise you, residency is so challenging. This past few months has been one of the challenging months in my life. I tell you for free. So it gives it gives you that independence. It brings. Also, wanted to state I wanted to state that residency is very challenging. I feel like a lot of people tell like residency students residencies are it's very difficult. You need to be prepared, you need to be efficient as a student going into residency. But a lot of people don't conceptualize how challenging and difficult it is until you actually get into it. I tell you guys for free, this past few months has been the most challenging months in my life, and I am glad that I'm doing it because every single day I wake up to learn something new. I wake up to the realization that I am doing this in order to advance my patient care experience, in order to advance my knowledge, in order to make solid clinical decision making. And that's another reason why you should consider doing a residency, because think about it, straight out of pharmacy school you have embodied all of this knowledge for 3 years if you're in an accelerated program. I went through an accelerated program, or 4 years um if you're in the traditional pharmacy school, right? But a lot of that teaches you guideline knowledge. It teaches you black and white situation. It doesn't really teach you the gray areas when it comes to patient care. And this is what residency is really going to go in depth and get into and build that knowledge base that you need to make this clinical decision making for your patient, and not just clinical decision making, optimum clinical decision making. And these are a few reasons I feel like residency is totally worth the time and effort that you put into it. And I would just also like to add that what you put into your residency year is what you get out of it. So going into residency, you need to have your set goals. What are you trying to achieve? Because if you don't have to set goals, you're just gonna go into the entire program rambling and getting everything from everywhere because you'll be working alongside a lot of pharmacists. Every pharmacist have their own way of being a pharmacist. You have to take a little bit of each and every one of these learning experiences and kind of put it together to make your own practice, right? So that's what the year is all about. So if you're going into it not knowing what you really want to gain from it, you would as well just come out of it with nothing, right? So these are some of the things that you need to think about. In my next video, I will be talking about some things that you need to actually get into a good residency program and some things you need to start working on right now. So thank you for watching this video. And if you watch my video up until this extent, I love you guys so much. Please do not forget to subscribe and like, and I will see you in my next video.